Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Bryan from Keeping Up with the Nerds, back with another mini-cast. Yes, the little small snippet before we start with the actual video. I guess I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a small update. In the previous videos, I was saying that I was kind of catching up on some back catalog stuff that I've been working on, and this video should have released a couple weeks ago, but we just got caught up with so much content that, we're releasing it now. So this is going to be the second part to the fourth or fifth mini cast that we released about Ghostbusters, and pretty much all we're going to be talking about here is just the reviews and pretty much how most reviewers approach this movie and if we agree with it or not. So it's going to be Rene, Nick, and I, same format. It's a continuation of the last mini cast, so if you guys have not seen that one, only on YouTube can you find those mini casts here. So if you have not yet subscribed or want to go check them out, please go ahead and head over to our channel, subscribe, and go check out our other mini casts, because we talk about Eternals, we talk about the Disney Plus content that came out, and usually those, our podcast. Relax, bud. The mini casts are kind of like smaller versions of our podcast where we just kind of discuss the stuff that we don't really want to fit into the podcast. So this is one of them. And it's just a small little, conversation about what we think of, how unfairly this movie was reviewed. So if you guys like what you saw, subscribe, hit that like button. Let us know in the comments down below. Do you guys agree with us? Do you guys want to see some other stuff? And keep updated, guys, because we are going to be coming out with more content before the end of the year. So it is, something that we're working on, and expect a lot more videos to be released on this channel. Isn't that right, Baba Joey? Isn't that right? You're not licking me this time, because everyone called me out on that. No. Can you look at the camera? Look at the face you give me, just so that way they know. Tell them, Joey. We'll see him in the bit. We'll see him in a bit, right? Bye. Ah!
Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of issue 4 of the mini cast. We're going to be talking about our comparisons of Ghostbusters Afterlife, how exactly the critics are kind of attacking this movie, how fans are responding to it, and kind of our general overall thoughts of the movie itself, comparisons and whatnot.
A potential sequel.
And how a potential sequel could be in the future. All that and more. Let's get to it.
There's no intro like that. No, this is a mini cast, bro. There's no middle part of it.
Bryan, play that intro.
It's all good. We can just run it from there. It was a good intro.
That was actually really good.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it. This is all. Yes, this is how we actually prep for intros, by the way. You just saw a behind-the-scenes look in issue number 4.5 of the mini cast.
So like I was saying before, in part 1, as we were
trying to
saying,
distract Nick.
you're really distracting me. I'm just like, why are you grabbing your nipples?
No, my nipples are here.
And now we know. Now they know.
That's if the camera turns this way.
The camera is turned over there. Okay, so anyway, besides that, in the last issue, we talked about, Ghostbusters Afterlife, the comparisons, its respect towards the first movie. But what we noticed was that critics really didn't like this movie.
I don't know what it is,
but it looks like there is a good majority of critics that are liking the movie, but there are also there's like a handful of critics that are just like giving it 1s and 2s.
Yeah,
and that's what's really bringing down its score in Rotten Tomatoes. Now, if you guys have watched the podcast before, if you haven't, that's fine. But
no, that's not fine. Go watch the podcast. What are you talking about? Go watch the podcast. Give it with the nerds. Issues 50 all the way to 75.
I was going to say that afterwards,
out or 74.
But yes.
Really
what I was going to say.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
What I was going to say
the podcast
is that
finds its footing around 74.
So, what I was saying was that. Dang it! I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, well.
No.
So reviewers haven't been nice to this film.
Reviewers haven't been nice to this movie, and it's really weird because it's like a nice little handful of people that are kind of hating on the movie for its. I would assume, because from what I saw, it was editing, music choices, that it wasn't like as like it's not like a revolutionary score. They were just like, all they did was they just used the old score and they like just used it.
I can tell you why. It's because these reviewers have been spoiled with Marvel movies, with like the visionary perspective.
No, I wouldn't even say
Marvel.
spoiled.
I wouldn't even say Marvel movies.
I just feel like they feel obligated that they have to watch these movies.
This movie is a travesty.
Because it sounds...
Therefore,
Yeah.
a 2.
Because it sounds like they're legitly tired of watching either comic book movies or just nerdy
So
movies
why does
in
this
general.
movie have to suffer from it? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because I totally agree with that aspect of like, you know, this movie shouldn't be suffering the way it is in terms of the reviewer scores.
Yeah.
Which is fine. At the end of the day, it's what the audience thinks, and that's how it'll be successful.
But the
right?
problem is that the audience also follows what Rotten Tomatoes says. There's a large portion of the audience that will not go see this movie until it hits DVD or until it hits streaming services because it got a poor Rotten Tomatoes
Well,
score, or because it's getting like an average Rotten Tomatoes score. So people are going to go, oh, well, the movie sucks.
Well, I agree and I disagree with that, because I agree what you're saying, and it is true. People casually go off of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Internals, the start of Internals, and now this movie, I feel like audiences are now going to be like, okay, well, it's going to shift where they're going to start looking into audience scores.
Mhm.
Because I think it's catching on that critics are getting a little snooty with certain reviews.
This ain't
Critics
the
have-
last night.
Critics have-
This isn't
critics have
the last
always-
or one last night in Soho.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I get
Wasn't that
you.
you a couple weeks ago?
Last night in Soho is freaking awesome. It's
You kept
also
telling me
it's
to
at
see it
it's at
too.
70% too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
okay.
not that.
So
it-
I mean,
yeah.
but that's what I'm. But okay, for all of those, because like my dad, hardcore. I'll tell him I'm gonna go see a movie. He then tells me what movie. I go, I'm gonna go watch Ghostbusters. And he'll be like, oh, I heard that was bad. And I was like, who told you it was bad? And he goes, oh, I saw
It's the
Rotten Tomato.
internet.
Yeah.
I saw Rotten Tomatoes, and Rotten Tomatoes says it was bad. I'm gonna wait until the movie comes out later. And I'm like, that's not. That's why I don't like Rotten Tomato scores. I
Mhm.
hate Rotten Tomato scores.
Yeah.
If a movie's bad, I'd rather go watch it myself, even if it's terrible.
No, same here.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if I hear a movie's bad, I'm like, now I kind of want to know how bad.
Yeah,
No,
like
yeah.
It makes me
Moonfall.
want to. It kind of
I
makes
want
me
to watch
the movie.
Moonfall.
Is Moonfall really that bad?
I feel like it is. Like, I mean, when are freaking what is it called?
Disaster movies?
Disaster movies. Like,
It's been a while since we had one.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of disaster,
2021.
I was thinking Twister.
Twister. Oh my god, is that a disaster movie?
Technically,
Technically,
I always
it's
think of it.
it's subcategory.
It's
I think that's-
it's a minor disaster movie.
Yeah.
Because it's only in
not to the
Oklahoma.
people that suffer through tornadoes, Nick.
Move.
Okay.
I think my favorite. I think really quick. My favorite
I-
disaster movie is Day After Tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
I
Really?
like that. I like that
I think
one.
that movie's boring.
Okay, can we go back to the topic
Okay,
of
yeah,
Ghostbusters? So, I understand why the reviewer scores are the way they are, and if they're criticizing the edits, fine. I can
Yeah.
tear it apart in terms of the edits.
Yeah.
There was one part, and I talked about this
Yeah.
with you guys yesterday. The Ecto one is exiting out of the police station, lights on, then it travels through the city, lights off, then it travels over the bridge to the mountain with its lights on. The edits weren't there.
I'm gonna be
Paul
totally honest
Rudd's-
with you. I didn't see it.
I
I
saw
didn't
it.
see it
Yeah,
actually
but someone that
I wasn't-
someone that has to edit for this channel pays attention to those minor
Here-
details.
but here
Well,
was-
I edit all the
but here was
time,
my
so I
thing,
have
though,
to
is
notice
that-
those things.
Here was the hold on, but I try to do that too when I'm watching a movie, but at a certain point as well, I just lose myself in the movie. And if the movie is that good, where I'm now just like not caring about, I'm just like I'm on the ride. I kind of don't care about minor edits.
Which is that's what this
really
movie
don't.
did.
Yeah.
Because even though I was paying attention to some of the stuff, it reminded me that this is an ode to a 1980s, like a special 1980s movie. This is what they did. This is all practical. Paul Rudd coming out of the gatekeeper's body, and you can tell that he was clearly behind a statue rather than being inside of one. That's fine. It's all practical effects that I can live with. And at the end of the day, did you love this movie? Yes. So to kind of move things forward, Rene,
Yes.
because you and I didn't look at anything, Nick. We haven't seen it. We just know that the Rotten Tomato score is there. Rene picked out 5 different ones, and
These
he's
are all
going to read
bad
them out loud
reviews. These are all bad
for all
reviews,
us.
right? Just to be clear, they're all bad reviews.
Yeah, these are all bad reviews.
All right, so this might disappoint Nick. So your discretion is advised.
So
guys.
this review is by Richard Roper, and he gave it a score of 2
Out of
4.
Ah!
And
Half.
I will read.
Wait, why 4?
I don't know.
Let him get into it.
So I will read. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna read one that pops out that's relative to his review. Basically, he says Afterlife is bathed in nostalgia, Comic-Con level worship of artifacts and props and touchstones from the original, with lingering shots of a MKP meter and proton packs and refashioned 1959 Cadillac that becomes the Echo One, not to mention the makeshift flight suit uniforms, a billboard for Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and a fire pole, among other visual references. That's all well and cool, but what's missing through much of the movie is a sense of awe and consistent sharp comedy.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can't have nostalgia. hey, you're reminiscing of the past? Stop it. Stop it. Nick, shut up. Shut up. Don't you reminisce about it. Don't you reminisce about it.
No, what I was gonna say was I understand his point.
No.
I get it.
He's wrong.
No, because the thing is that does the movie have a lot of nostalgia to it?
Yes.
Is it banking a lot on the fact that you probably love those original movies? Absolutely.
Thank you for holding back.
Why else would you be going to go see a movie called Ghostbusters?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm in that same page. I get it, but it's also kind of like there's probably more to that review. Just that portion was just off. I don't know.
Just got to get that one line. But but the thing is that because I'm reading his thing, and it was saying a sequel needs substance, it needs a story to go along with it. Unfortunately, Ghostbusters didn't. I really appreciated the story in this one.
Afterlife?
I really liked the story.
They passed on.
It was the passing of the proton pack. It was the passing of not only of a granddaughter kind of finding her own in the life of her grandfather, of kind of like her realizing who she really is, because she hasn't really been herself. She doesn't really know why. You also see that there are other people that are kind of weirdos and they're outcasts, but they find homes with each other. And I think that that's a really interesting idea. That's an interesting story to kind of go over. And they do it really well where you care about these characters. You really want them to succeed.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we talked about in the last part. Yeah.
And according to Roper, the story isn't there. But the problem is that there is a really big story there. And that story, you can see that the story is there, because if it's not, then by the end of the movie, you wouldn't have cared as much as you do.
Yeah,
and
when the original Ghostbusters come out.
Original Ghostbusters show up, because honestly, when the original Ghostbusters show up, spoiler alert.
Real quick, Nick. Real quick, we got 4 other reviews to go through.
Yeah, I know, but
I feel like this review hurt him.
Yeah, this one really hurt me. But anyway, the reason why I really liked it was because they failed.
Yeah,
these Ghostbusters failed to defeat Zool.
Yeah.
And the original Ghostbusters come to help them, and that was really awesome.
Yeah. All right,
so,
Nick, Rene, go for it.
So this one's from a reviewer on ScreenRant.com by May Abdulbaki. Sorry.
Yeah, that name's a nightmare.
Basically, this is her review. Hollywood is hesitant to let go of the Ghostbuster franchise, but Ghostbusters Afterlife is a reminder that some things should stay in the past instead of being resurrected. The sequel relies too heavily on nostalgia and action without any of the goofy light-heartedness that made 1984's Ghostbusters memorable to begin with. Directed by Jason Reitman, who revives the franchise from the original directors and father Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters Afterlife is obviously obvious family-friendly entertainment, but it doesn't have any soul, charisma, or good drama to justify its existence.
In her cereal.
She got
who peed in her cereal, dude? That
day she was not in a good mood.
and that's one that was a harsh review.
She gave it a 2
out of
5.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
That's low. Like she went for the nut punch. That was low. That's Hollywood's reluctant to let go of Ghostbusters is a lie. We as an audience are reluctant to let go of Ghostbusters.
I get where she's coming from on that one, where it's going based off of the 2016 Ghostbusters, because that was like a reboot. They were supposed to reboot the franchise.
Yes.
And they were supposed to have, I think the original call for that one was a trilogy.
Yes.
It was supposed to be the Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and then Ghostbusters 3 in that one, and then it just didn't take off.
But you notice there's already by the second review, and I'm like skimming the third one, there's a pattern of their reviews all the time. It's they complain about the nostalgia.
Okay. What's the third one?
Third one. So this one's by independent.com. Let me see who did this one. Clarissa Longfree. Yeah. And she said, Ghostbusters Afterlife has made me question what people even liked about the original. Growing up, I understood the 1984 film. I see Bryan on my peripherals. A 1984 film to be a scrappy, wildly successful comedy about a pack of down-of-their-luck dorks instantly proving the existence of the astral plane and getting blowjobs from ghosts.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's funny? Yeah, I loved how there wasn't any adult, not too much adult stuff. There was like one reference when it was the gatekeeper and the keymaster, and that was it. Yeah. And he also got some humping or something like that.
Let's skip this one. Go straight to review 4. That one. No.
Well, Let It Loose, arcanal humor for earlier Saturday Night Live was only ever serious about the lingo and the paranormals, like all the stuff they said. But she says it was just the film that opened the door to its likes of The Jerk, Trading Places, and Caddy. So basically, she's just ripping on the first one more than on Afterlife.
Moving on. Review 4.
Review 4.
I don't really know what to really say about that one.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say.
I think that was unfair.
That
was a very unfair review.
Yeah, that was.
Brian's like,
because our faces were we both like locked eyes. We're like, what? What is there to love about Ghostbusters? Shut your mouth.
Stupid ghosts. Stupid busters. Let the ghosts live.
Let the ghosts live. So this one's by a review. I guess like
Knockout 4 and 5.
A certain one, but they're not saying. I have to scroll all the way up because they just basically post all the reviews like one by one in the same page. Basically, let's see. Ghostbusters Afterlife suffers from the same problem that Space Jam: New Legacy suffers from. It might have been called Easter Egg the movie because of how it bombards the audience with many Easter eggs. The screenplay by writer-director Jason Reitman spends too much time paying homage to the classic original from 1984 that it never quite takes off and becomes its own existing Ghostbusters film.
I challenge him to point out every Easter egg in this movie without researching it. Mm-hmm. If it's just an Easter egg collage, mm-hmm. I dare him. I challenge him to do that.
This guy calls himself the New York City movie guru. Okay.
Hold on one second. The fact that she put this movie right next to Space Jam Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Nick's about to throw a chair.
That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
No, because Space Jam Legacy I feel like when they went into it, didn't understand what made Space Jam so
mm-hmm.
fun and why it made it so cool. This movie, on the other hand, went with nostalgia. They know they really did try to like kind of go like what was the genie in the bottle in this one? How did we find lightning in the bottle on the original Ghostbusters, and how do we recreate it and remake it for this new generation? And I feel like they, if not hit it, they got real dang close.
Rene?
This one's from Time Magazine.
How did Time Magazine let us down yet again?
Stephanie Zacharika Rex. I don't know. That's again another. Bleh. In the world of franchises, sequels, reboots, and remakes, there are true fans, and then there are everybody else. In early 2019, as filmmaker Jason Reitman was preparing Ghostbusters Afterlife, he took heat for asserting during an interview that his film would hand the movie back to the fans, a quip everybody understandably read as a dig at Paul Feig's ill-fated 2016 remake featuring women actors in the lead roles. Reitman quickly backtracked, claiming that he had nothing but an admiration for Feig and his actors. But as it turns out, his clarification was beside the point. Ghostbusters Afterlife, not a remake, but definitely a sequel, does cater heavily to those who have made a weird regional out of the religion of the 1984 original, which was directed and co-written by Ivan Reitman, Jason's father, also one of this newest film's producers. It's the younger Reitman's fault that in a making modern film that also in some ways honors the work of his fathers, but he also fed into the tyranny of fandom. Maybe not, but whatever his intentions were, Ghostbusters Afterlife isn't original or appealing enough to stand on its own. Maybe it's really only for true fans. The rest of us most likely have better things to do.
So we got 3 minutes to discuss these reviews. I'll stretch it to 25. So
Okay.
we're just like 10 minutes. So. No. So here's what I'm gonna say this because you read the reviews, Rene, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, because I'm gonna backtrack to something you said that a lot of the problem that these reviewers have is a nostalgia factor towards it. Now, here's my issue with this entire thing. I understand where a reviewer or a consumer can look back and say like, oh, it's just kind of like it's stroking the ego of like the fandom and stuff. It's just a copy paste formula of that. Okay, if that was the case, then we also got to take a look at things like Star Wars and what they did with this new trilogy. That was basically it. Here's the problem. Ghostbusters is a famous brand. It is a famous movie. Like, people will know. But it's also not a movie that everyone has seen. People know of it, but not a lot of people have seen it. Not a lot of people know its history. So when I see these reviewers come out and say, but it's just an Easter egg collage, it's not original because it's just a copy paste formula of all these different things, what do you want? Do you want the 2016 all-women cast of Ghostbusters? Like, I've seen it. It's not bad, but it also wasn't appealing. I'm not going to rewatch it.
That's the thing. And that was a movie that was trying to do what they're complaining about, that this movie didn't. It was basically trying to do an original story with the name Ghostbusters, but no one liked that movie. The 2016 one.
Yeah, so for Jason to say we're going to give Ghostbusters back to the fans, that's a bad thing?
But
I'm sorry, is a movie not supposed to belong to the fans? And aren't we the ones paying money to go see it? It belongs to us. Who does it belong to? The freaking studios out there? Okay, yes, they own the rights to it, granted, but like, what does that mean?
But that's the thing though, is that for...
Sorry, that pissed me off.
No.
That's fair. No, it's
a fair criticism, but I think that... Because on that last one, it really did sound like she didn't like this movie because Reitman made a comment about 2016's. And a lot of people don't like the fact that 2016's Ghostbusters movie, they immediately go, well, because it has women in it, that's the reason why it failed.
No.
And they don't really look at the other problems that movie had. It has the script is atrocious. The characters themselves are more of caricatures than they are actual characters. The end fight isn't necessarily something memorable. It's more of just kind of like a zombie horde that they need to now hold off and everything else. They do try to get this like originality to it, but the originality unfortunately spreads you so far away from what made the original so great that now you don't like it.
Backtrack. Right. You said something that was just on point, okay? Yes. I've seen season 1 of Stranger Things. Have we all seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when they're dressing up as Ghostbusters?
Right.
Yeah.
What's the one thing they argue about?
Winston. Like, who
wants to be who?
Yeah.
Right? The fact that Nick said these are just caricatures, they don't sell and stuff like that. That's what makes the original Ghostbusters freaking great, you dumbasses. Like, you think of every single Ghostbuster in the original 1984, and they're special. Everyone wants to be someone.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell them apart from the 2016.
But apparently, people think that that's okay.
At all.
So what the? I'm trying to hold back the cussing.
I will say this about the 2016 Ghostbusters. When I saw the trailer, it looked good, but then my niece is a fan of the original Ghostbusters. She would watch those. I think when the 2016 one got announced, she was, what is it? How many years? No, she's 11 now. So she's 11 now.
11 now?
Yeah.
2016, that was 5 years ago.
So so she was six, and when she saw the trailer for the 2016, she was super excited because she heard there was a new Ghostbusters movie. But when watching it, she goes, "Where are the guys?" And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "There's no guys in here?" I'm like, "No, they're not. It's a new team." She goes, "Oh." She got really disappointed that she wasn't going to see the original cast, or at least
she hasn't seen this one yet, has she?
She hasn't seen this movie
she's gonna
yet.
freaking love this one.
She wants to see this one.
No, but the thing is that nostalgia. Here's the problem, though. It's really great when a movie can stand on its own, but the only thing is that this movie is sold as a sequel. It's being sold as a sequel,
and that was gonna be my thing to say. But go ahead, yeah.
This movie is being marketed as a sequel. It's marketed as, the Ghostbusters, the guys. Here we go. We're gonna be jumping in, and we're gonna be using the lore from the first two, and we're gonna be doing this.
The history.
Yeah.
Wrap up the thoughts on the review, Rene.
So my thoughts on the review is that I feel like they're critiquing the nostalgia of it, but the thing is that this movie kind of had to be like that for it to be, because it's how long since the first one, 1984?
It's been almost 30 years.
30 years. We're doing a movie after 30 years. It has to show references of past movies, or it has to show these characters now. We have to feel nostalgia because, again, it's a rehash to bring back new and old fans to watch it.
It referenced the second one, but it also sells you on the fact that this is the first one, the original one that everyone knows and loves.
Yeah.
That's where it sells.
I could understand if this movie came out within like the 90s and stuff like that. But if you're gonna critique it like that, if this same movie came out in the 90s, like, I can understand you can critique it,
Get him.
But because it came out 30 years later, there's no, the first movie has to be like
Check
this.
us out at LA Comic Con at a panel where we go after every reviewer that criticized Ghostbusters.
No, but not only that, but also because I feel like they're mocking it down. They're marking it down as nostalgia for showing the original commercial, for showing footage from the original movie, just stuff like that. I don't see it that way. I took it as more of world building, of like showing that what exactly did, from what we were seeing, what did the world think about that? Like, what is the world?
Yeah, that's
really
another
think about
thing too.
the situation in New York.
It builds on that fact in the history, because we're going to quickly discuss the sequel portions of it, if that's okay. Like the potentials of a sequel, because we do got to wrap up this mini cast up. So the potentials of a sequel in this movie, like when you think of like 1 and 2, it leaves room for a sequel. Like you kind of assume that things are going to go on. It leaves it to be that maybe there's something else going on out there. And Afterlife takes care of that by giving us a separate story. And this one kind of does that as well, but respectfully, without necessarily telling you that there's going to be a sequel. Because at the end of the movie, Winston comes out. It's Winston, right? Yes, he comes out and he's given this whole thing. He's basically saying, I'm wealthy, I'm well off, I'm paying for Ray's, bookshop and stuff like that, and even though he's going to make a profit sometime soon. But the Ecto-1 goes into the firehouse, assuming that he bought back the firehouse. Yeah. He's prepping it all up, and then the scene ends with the original ejector that discards the ghosts from the, what is it called, the ghost trap, and it's rumbling again. You don't have to have a direct sequel, but you can now, or you can continue on the story in some other formats like comic books or a cartoon or a TV show.
Yeah, it leaves it open that the world of Ghostbusters is happening again.
Ghostbusters Incorporated.
Not only that, but also I love the idea of them explaining, so whatever happened to them? Like, why did they stop busting ghosts? And I like the idea of randomly it just stopped. Just ghosts stopped showing up, and, Venkman even said, maybe we did our jobs too well.
Yeah. It satisfies every nook and cranny that we could have possibly been left with in the original 2 movies.
I want a TV show. I'll be totally honest with you.
I want Ghostbusters Incorporated. I just said that out loud for the first time, and I'm like, that would be pretty dope.
That's a good name.
I want
Ghostbusters Incorporated?
Ghostbusters Incorporated, but I want it to be like a Rescue Me kind of like comedy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where it's like people inside of this firehouse. And
Brooklyn Nine-Nine style.
I would love a Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No, but Rescue Me, honestly, it's just nothing but ghosts. That's what Rescue Me is.
That would be perfect. Oh my! Hey, Sony, Columbia Pictures, hire us. Whoever's going to be distributing that.
Rescue Me with more ghosts.
That's your pitch.
Here's the pitch. So we make Ghostbusters
with Brooklyn Nine-Nine directors and cast.
Oh, what's his name? What's his name? It's something. What's his name? One of the producers for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He did The Office too.
Oh.
Look it up. But we're gonna write the script. We're gonna get picked up by Fox, canceled in 3 seasons, and then NBC picks us up for a 2nd season, or for 2 more seasons, and we're done after 5. That's it.
Just double click.
All right, while you find that out, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up if you guys are okay with that. Yeah. Yes, okay. Thank you guys for watching this mini cast of Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 4.5, I guess we're going to call it. You guys can go check out the first part of issue 4 for the mini cast over on our YouTube if you guys are watching it, or our website at keepingupwiththenerds.com. Follow us on our socials at Keeping Up with the Nerds. You guys can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go like, go follow. You guys get up-to-date information on whenever new content does come up on there, so guys, keep a lookout on that. Also follow us on our audio podcast as well on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Leave a review if you guys are listening to Apple Podcasts as well. Follow us on there. You guys can listen to us for an hour and a half to 2 hours about all sorts of different content, Keeping Up with the Nerds. You guys can follow. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. We're at 79 subscribers. We want to reach 125 by the end of the year. Subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you guys think about all our stuff. Any feedback is welcome, even though we did criticize harshly these bad reviews. We take them and we appreciate them no matter what. So thank you guys. Renee? What was it?
I think is it Dan Gore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Andy's yelling in her seat right now because she's a fan of his like tremendously because of The Office and Parks and Rec.
I honestly think if Dan Gore were to do a sitcom version of Ghostbusters inside of the firehouse, that would just be hilarious.
They'd be perfect. Done. Deal. Hey, get Dan Gore's email right now.
That would be great.
Let's go. All right, guys.
Oh, he's done Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
We're gonna wrap this up, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Keeping Up with the Nerds minicast. My name is Brian,
I'm Nick.
Rene.
and we'll see you all in the next one. All right, guys, that about does it for this mini cast. If you guys like what you guys saw or heard, hit subscribe, like the video, let us know down below in the comments what you guys thought and if you guys agree with us. And I'll go ahead and pop up some little video recommendations right over here in the subscribe little button that you can find right over here. Thank you guys. We'll be seeing you all in the next one.